Hey guys, this is the daily news analysis of 9th of December. Guys, the very first news is about the labor code, and that is a universal social security payment basic system which is being introduced recently by the labor ministry. And it is being said that the this labor code will bring forth universal social security payment system to organized as well as unorganized sector workers. That's why it is being said by the labor union that this this code is very good, but at the same time it is being facing resistance from few of the government sections, because they are telling that it will overall increase the wage cost. The condition why I'm telling that it will increase the wage cost is, see, India's total workforce is around 450 million as of now, out of which more than 10% is presently in organized sector, and they are enjoying some sort of social security benefits in one form or the other. All right, and what is our fiscal deficit condition of India overall, right? So if this labor code will be implemented, then each and every workers, whosoever it may be, whether it's from organized sector or unorganized sector, everyone will be entitled under this social security payment. Means the wage cost of the government exchequer will increase manifold times, right? So that's why the few sections of the government section is telling that no, we are in resistance of this labor code. And one more information is given in this article is that central ministries and the states have increasingly hired contract workers. Now what does this contract workers means? They are not full-time worker. And what are the benefit of the hiring them? It saves the cost of any organization who is hiring them. Also guys, minimum wages are not mandatory in case of contract workers, which is mandatory in case of that formal sector worker, right? So let's read that what is being proposed by the labor ministry in this labor code, guys. So according to this labor code, every household, whether it's employing domestic help, will have to contribute towards this scheme of provident fund and gratuity to the workers. Means if you are having any domestic workers, then you have to pay for their provident fund and gratuity, right? And any factories, whosoever is being that factory, whether it is a single worker factory or a multi-worker factory, they have to ensure social security benefits to their employees, right? As well as every working persons in the country will be covered under the social security code, whether they are from organized or unorganized sector, as I've already discussed this. All right. Also guys, self-employed workers also will have to contribute 20% of their monthly income towards provident fund and pension, so that they could get the benefit of it at a future stage, right? And guys, what are the self-employed workers? Self-employed workers is a person who takes land on sharecropping or any other form of rent, all right, until the same using its own family members. So if you want to know the definition of self-employed workers, so this is the definition of self-employed workers. As well as in the labor code, it's been said by that a national social security council will be set up, and that will be chaired by Prime Minister. Now what will be the work of this national social security council, guys? It will basically streamline and make whatsoever exam is being the policy that is which either has a loophole, or in future if any other policy is required for streamlining the social security scheme. So that will be the work. The national social security council will do that work, right? Now under this labor code, the coverage is being given to any factory, mine, plantation, shop, charitable organization, and all establishment or household employing casual, part-time, fixed term, informal, apprentice, domestic and home-based worker. So this was all about this news. Next news is about border protection grid. Basically this was a news because the Union Home Minister has recently highlighted the importance of this grid, all right, and the concept was basically highlighted at the meeting of the chief minister of those states who are who are in the border region of India, Bangladesh, right? So what is this border protection grid, guys? This is a multi-pronged and foolproof mechanism to secure any border, and the grid will comprise of various elements. It will be a physical barrier also like this, and it will be of non-physical barrier also. In non-physical barriers, laser light will be used, all right, and different other applications will also be there for the surveillance of the border, like surveillance system, intelligence agencies, state police, BSF and other state and central agency. And now who will supervise this, guys? In every state, see, there are many states surrounding this Indo-Bangladesh border, right? So in every state this will be supervised by a state level standing committee who will be under the chairmanship of respective state secretaries. And the work of this grid is to facilitate legitimate trade and commerce between the countries, as it's being said by Union Home Ministry, means in this case between India and Bangladesh, and also to facilitate genuine trade and legitimate trade across the border. Now what what does it mean? Means up till now there illegal trades? Yes, there were few illegal trades, like illegal migrations were taking place, smuggling of cattle, that was in huge news, right? Then fake Indian currency notes were, and drugs were also being smuggled across the borders. So these all things will be reduced if there is application of smart grid, right? Also this grid is necessary to prevent illegal entry of illegal migrants who are often blamed to have link with extremist group, and those extremist group are either directly or indirectly funded by ISI of Pakistan, because Pakistan don't want to see stability in India. That's why say they they just give money to these extremist group, and these extremist group carried out turmoil in our Indian territory, right? So this is the reason behind it. Next news is about Kumbh Mela, guys. Actually, Kumbh Mela has been incorporated into intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO. All right, now what is Kumbh Mela, guys? It is a festival of sacred pitcher where pilgrimage take bath or take dip in sacred river. Right now, the congregation include ascetics, saints, sadhus, and as well as visitors, and the knowledge on skills of Kumbh Mela in India has been imparted through teacher and student relationship, but the transmission and safeguarding has also been ensured by oral tradition as well as religious and historical tracks. And now, since this Kumbh Mela is included in the intangible cultural heritage as mentioned by UNESCO, that means it is getting the international recognition, means its safeguard will be much more easier from now. All right, okay, from India this Kumbh Mela is incorporated into intangible cultural heritage, but there are a few others heritages also that has been included from different other countries. I have mentioned a few, guys, you just read it, like Iranian horse riding, craft of miller, operating windmill and water mills of Netherlands, right? Next is traditional boat making of Indonesian island, a maize based culinary tradition of Malawi, which is an African country, guys. Next is Bangladesh tradition art of Shital Patti weaving. So these are few of the addition. Right now, let's say read a bit about UNESCO. What is UNESCO? The full form of it is, guys, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and it is a specialized agency of United Nations whose headquarters is in Paris, right? And now what does it do, guys? It contribute to the peace and security by promoting international collaboration through educational, scientific as well as cultural reform, and the increase in universal respect for justice. I mean these are the work of this institution, UNESCO, right? To increase the universal respect of justice, to respect the rule of law, human right, along with fundamental freedom proclaimed in the United Nations Charter. Also, it aims to contribute the building peace and eradication of poverty, sustainable development and intercultural dialogue through education, science, culture, communication and information. Next news is about International Conference on Groundwater. Now, why this conference has done? Because there is a huge scarcity of groundwater that is being taking place in different parts of the world, right? So that's why this international conference has been organized recently by National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee, Central Groundwater Board, under the aegis of Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, and the theme of this is Groundwater Vision 2030, Water Security, Challenge, Climate Change, Adaptation. Now you will get to know that through this theme only you will get to know that what will be what could have done, what could have happened in this international conference of groundwater, right? But still we will discuss that. In article it was written that in the present time world scenario, guys, the condition of groundwater is deteriorating day by day. All right, and in past decades also few figures are there, right? Like groundwater usage in the country has grown many folds, and today 80% of the rural domestic needs earlier if X% was the domestic need of rural people, now it's 180%, right? So there's seen 80% increase in rural domestic needs of groundwater, 65% increase in irrigation water requirement, 50% of industrial and urban water needs, right? These all things has been increased, as well as there is being seen over over exploitation of groundwater, which has started threatening the sustenance of agricultural activities in many key regions of the countries, which are including Punjab, Bundelkhand, Rajasthan, and they are also posing grave threat to food security. Few of the other reasons that are kept for this groundwater depletion are climate change and contamination of groundwaters by chemicals such as arsenic, right? Next news is about a new portal which is called MSME Sambandh, that is micro small medium enterprise Sambandh, right? So what this portal will do, guys, it will basically help in monitoring the implementation of public procurement which is being done by central public sector enterprise of this micro MSMEs, right? So let's see a bit more about it, guys. So MSME sector will read about it. This sector generates more employment, which is next to the agricultural sector. As we know that agricultural sector gives around 50% of the employment of Indian population. So it gives, MSME sector gives next to agricultural sector. Also the major benefit of this is, in MSME sector there is 20% of investment, all right, but the jobs that are being secured by this MSME sector are 80% of the job in industry. Now, this MSME Sambandh portal would also gel with the ease of doing business and make in India initiative of the government of India, and the micro small enterprise would be able to access the information about products being procured by the central public sector enterprise through the portal. Thus, it would help in the MSMEs in participating in the procurement process. Also, a factual thing was given that regarding the procurement policy of the government. So government basically framed the procurement policy in 2012, under which it mandated the central government or central department or central public sector undertakings to procure necessarily from MSMEs, right, with the objectives of achieving an overall procurement goal of minimum of 20% of the total annual purchase of the products or the services procured or rendered by MSMEs, right? Okay, next news about eCourts, guys. Actually, an e-committee of the Supreme Court of India in association with Department of Justice held a national conference in which central project coordinators of various high courts were also connected, and they were talking about eCourts. Now we will see about what this eCourt is. It is basically a national e-governance project of the information and communication technology enablement of districts and subordinate courts in the country, and it make the whole judicial system ICT based, right? And there will be introduction of adequate and modern hardware and connectivity in all the courts, as well as there will be automation of workflow management in all the courts. Electronic movements of record from taluka or trial to appeal courts will be taking place under this eCourt, and also there will be installation of video conferencing facility. The witness of there will be recording of witnesses through video conferencing, as well as it will lead to connection of all the courts through this national judicial data grid. All right, next is citizen centric facilities such as electronic filing will also be facilitated through these e-courts, and e-payments and usage of mobile applicants in all courts will be there. Full computerization of state and district level judicial and service academics and centers will be taking place under this e-court system. Next news is about the adultery law, basically, and the Supreme Court has said that the adultery law vetted in favor of men, right? Now, what is this all about, guys? Basically, a PI law has been filed in Supreme Court, and they have asked to drop this clause adultery from the section 498 of IPC. All right, because it leads to adultery as a criminal offense. Now, what Supreme Court has said, basically, Supreme Court has said the provision of adultery in the Indian Penal Code treat a married woman as a husband's subordinate. Means they, in this code, women are totally objectified, and Supreme Court has also said that time has now came that in society everywhere we are equalizing women and men, right? So why not let's have a check into this adultery law also, right? We will give a check. Now Supreme Court has not said that we will we'll do away with this adultery adultery clause, right? They won't do away, but they are telling that okay, we are checking, let us check this whole thing out, and then we will give our verdict, right? So let's see about this adultery law. Section 497 of IPC has mandated that whosoever has a sexual intercourse, if a married couple is having sexual intercourse without the consent or convenience of men, then such sexual intercourse will not be said to be rape because they are married, right? But the man will be guilty of the offensory of adultery. All right, now here it has been said the man will be guilty of the offensory of adultery and man shall be punished, right? Now the court has said in this regard that court will examine the two aspects of this penal provision which is being mentioned in section 497. Now what are these two provisions? One will be, why does section 497 treat the man as the adulterer and the married woman as victim? Why does it do this only, right? I mean court will be checking this, right? Up till now the whole matter of this news is not clear. As it will get clear, we will just discuss all about it, right? But now just check that what it court actually says from here, right? 2, the offense of adultery ceases at the moment, means if offense of adultery is being imposed on any husband, but there is a provision of this getting ceased at the moment when it is established that husband has been given consent for this adulterous act, right? So that's why this is in overall this news is in court, guys. If any further news come, then we'll surely get to know you about this adultery clause, right? Now the question of the day is, guys, which of the following Indian state does not border Bangladesh? You just have to tell, these out of these 4 options, the first option is Assam, second is Manipur, third is Tripura, and fourth is Meghalaya. You just have to jot the correct option out in the comment section below. I'll be waiting for this, right, guys? So yeah, bye bye, take care, and thank you for listening to this video, guys. Thank you very much. We'll meet in next class.